Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest from the live radar, run through the UKV, have a look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days. It is fairly cool and unsettled at the moment with some big heavy, even thundery showers breaking out in places. But through most of the next 3 days, through Good Friday, Easter Saturday and Sunday, it will be fairly dry and hopefully quite sunny in places. The temperature could even rise to maybe the mid to high teens through the weekend. However, for many through Sunday evening into Easter Monday, it is looking likely rain will spread back in and we'll see another spell of unsettled weather through early parts of next week. And as we'll see on the GFS, GEM, Ecmwf and the Ensembles, there is quite a stormy picture potentially setting up for a couple of days. Now, the latest runs have started to develop a quite significant area of low pressure around sort of Tuesday, Wednesday next week, and there is the potential that it could be a named storm. Now, the one caveat I put in that is that it is really only developed on the last sort of 24 to 48 hours, and it isn't 100% on all runs of different intensities of it, but there could be quite a severe low. It is not the sort of theme to go ahead. It's just a few days, and after that it does look like the high pressure will return, but we'll concentrate on what that is showing on some of the runs today, and of course into the longer ranges. It is still looking fairly dry and potentially quite a bit warmer as we head into the middle of the month, as those upper air temperatures do look quite likely now to be well above average for the time of year. So could we soon be seeing on our first 20 degrees of the year as well through the middle part of the month. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. So do start on the live radar. You can see across parts of Europe now the weather front that gave us the widespread light to moderate rain yesterday. Now, it has spread through. We've got the low pressure sort of sat over the top of us. It's not a particularly severe low, so we're not seeing huge areas of rain. But because it is generally low pressure, we've got some sunshine in places. It has meant some heavy thundery showers are popping off. Again, nothing too intense, but wherever we see these reds in London, the southeast, through central southern England, perhaps into parts of the Midlands as well, we could see a little bit of heavy thundery rain, maybe a bit of hail mixing in there, and they should blow through quite quickly, but some areas could still see some really quite heavy rain. Further northwards, still quite a few heavy showers, but not quite as significant as areas further southwards, but still a little bit miserable under those showers. But equally, if you do avoid those showers, it will be pretty nice and sunny. Now, as I said, into tomorrow, though, it will turn a lot drier. So if you don't like this rain, we'll have another few days of that drier, warm weather through Friday into the weekend. Now, if you look at the 2 metre temperatures as of 3:30, you can see areas where we see a bit of sunshine, quite warm through parts of northeast England, East Anglia, the East Midlands, where we've got a bit more sunshine and less showers. You can see temperatures getting up towards the mid-teens here, maybe 15 or even peaking at 16 degrees. But equally, some blue showing through central southern England. The only reason for that is heavier rain, bringing those temperatures down, evaporative cooling, meaning the temperatures are more towards the low teens, if not struggling around the double-digit mark. And that is pretty much what we're seeing across the whole country. Again, higher spots, of course, seeing slightly cooler weather with the elevation, but still generally an average to slightly above average today. But under the showers, as I said, and cloud, it will feel a little bit cooler. Now, if you look at the UKV and see what the precipitation and temperature is doing over the next 5 days, you can see through this afternoon those heavier showers breaking out, and they should fade away around sort of 5, 6, 7 p.m. And overnight, it should be much clearer and much drier. Into tomorrow, there could be some more cloud and maybe a few drizzly showers across northeastern coastal areas, but it should be quite a sunny and quite a warm day. Into Saturday, once again, fairly dry, perhaps more cloud, especially in the west and drifting on off eastern coastal areas, but still fair amount of sunshine for central areas. And then finally into Easter Sunday, should be fairly decent for most, but you see across parts of the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland, rain will be spreading in through the afternoon, and overnight it will spread in widely for all areas, giving a spell of moderate to heavy rain for a time. It should clear, though, for most areas into Monday morning, and then we see heavier showers, thundery showers potentially packing in behind it, and this is this few days of very unsettled weather with the jet stream powering in from the west, and this is where it could pick up that low, and through Tuesday, Wednesday, and maybe Thursday time could give a real quite stormy pattern as I said, for a few days. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Of course, the UKV is not quite in range yet, but as soon as it does come within range, we will be having a look at that, as it could be quite severe. But as I said, there still is quite a bit of uncertainty, exact positioning and intensities of this associated low pressure system. If you finally just look at the max temperatures for the UKV, you can see over the course of the next few hours, you see those temperatures maybe 14 or 15 where we see a bit of sunshine, but elsewhere it's 8 to 12 degrees with more cloud and rain around. Overnight tonight, could see a frost across Northern Ireland, Republic Islands and northern and western areas where we have clearer skies. It should be isolated really, nothing too severe. And into tomorrow afternoon, look at those temperatures, once again recovering to maybe 13 to 15 degrees. So quite a bit warmer with that sunshine, feeling quite a bit warmer with those temperatures around average or slightly above average. Into the weekend, again, could be a bit of a frost in places overnight into Saturday, but a bit more cloud around. It should hold that in most areas, but across western and southwestern areas could be a little bit of a colder sort of air lingering there. Into Saturday afternoon, look at those temperatures, more widely 14, 15 or even higher. Again, pretty warm for the time of year with that sunshine, feeling quite a bit warmer, really quite nice and pleasant. Again, the upper air temperatures are nothing too exceptional, and that's why these temperatures aren't climbing all too much, but it will still feel fairly warm out there. And finally into Easter Sunday, the best day we've had for quite some time. It will be quite sunny and quite warm through most of England, Wales and Scotland. The Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland, fortunately, will be cooler, around 8 to 12 degrees with rain and cloud. But as you can see across England and Wales, 16, 17 or maybe even an isolated 18 degrees could be seen. Really quite pleasant, mild or even warm, with that sunshine as well, feeling really quite nice. So yeah, coinciding with Easter Sunday, really quite decent there. However, as we head into Monday, those temperatures will be on the downwards trend, and by Monday afternoon, look at that, struggling to 8 to sort of 13 degrees, wherever we do see the cloud and rain, cooler than that, maybe with a few pockets of sunshine in places in the far east, maybe 15 or 16 degrees, but again, most areas low teens, if not high single digits, and that will continue into Tuesday, where it's going to have a cool night, but nothing especially cold. Now, if you have a look at the longer range now, go through the GFS, GEM, Ecmwf and the Ensembles. This is the latest 6 o'clock run from the GFS, and you can see at the moment we've got that brief area of low pressure running through. High pressure will build back in for the next few days, and that's why it's been warmer and drier before low pressure runs back in. This is where we think we could have a bit of a stormier spell. However, the latest GFS doesn't really pick up the low all too much, and that's why I said there's a lot of uncertainty. Previous runs have built a really significant low just in this kink in the jet stream here. But instead, we just see generally unsettled low pressure systems moving in. So it'll still be rainy, still be fairly gusty, but nothing particularly stormy. But as we'll see in the GM and the Ecmwf, there could be something quite significant developing there. Beyond that, though, as I said, it's still a general theme for high pressure, so towards the next weekend, so perhaps 3, 4, maybe even 5 days of unsettled weather before the high pressure system builds back in and it goes really quite warm and dry. Low pressure could run in right in the longer term, but for a good sort of 4 or 5 days, once again, we see high pressure return, big warm sector under that higher pressure, those upper air temperatures towards sort of 5 to 10 degrees, and I wouldn't be surprised to be temperatures potentially reaching the 20 degree mark. You can see here 15 to 17 degrees, and again, this is a lower resolution GFS run. Again, wouldn't be particularly accurate, and I wouldn't be surprised to see 18 to 20 degrees with this sort of positioning of the high pressure and these upper air temperatures in sort of local areas, but widely mid to high teens with this. So definitely a signal for drier, warm weather towards the middle of the month, but we could have this brief unsettled or stormy spell potentially next week that has really cropped up quite quickly, but we'll have to really keep a close eye on it. Now, if you look at the GM, see how that does compare. Again, the high pressure is already reforming at the moment over to our north and our east, dominating through most of the weekend. Into Monday, though, low pressure moves back in, and you can see along the kink of the jet stream a much more significant low develops, and look at it spiral up quite into a severe low there, with some very, very gusty winds. And if we do zoom in, we put on those winds, you can see really quite strong sustained winds, getting up to sort of 40 or 50 knots for sustained winds. So quite significant there, and you can see the ice bars very tight towards the centre, 972 millibars, really quite significant, I must say so. So it will be very interesting to see if that does develop. Again, out to Wednesday, so in the next day or two it should become into the UKV time frame, but I'm sure the exact positioning and intensities of this low, what happens to it won't be decided for another couple of days, but some real strong hints of something quite intense here. But equally, I must say, the latest GFS didn't produce anything at all, but previous iterations did. The midnight run and the 6 p.m. run, yes, they did. So we'll have to see what this does have in store for us, but it could be some quite disruptive stormy weather next week. We'll just have to keep an eye on it. Beyond that, though, from the GM, we do see the low eventually clear and high pressure trying to reform to our south, but taking a little bit longer than the GFS did. Still with low pressure over the top of us, but the air masses are starting to recover, so turning a little bit warmer and hopefully turning drier with that as well. If we do finish by having a look at the Ecmwf, high pressure building in through this weekend, dominating before low runs in, and then look at that low, really severe as it does move through. Again, source low like this, I would expect this to be a name storm. Look at the centre of that, 964 millibars towards the centre of this system. Really, really intense, and could be quite a dangerous system there with that very strong winds on its southerly edge. Again, we'll have to see what those wind gusts are near the time. But look at the 10-metre winds, again, sustained knots, 10-metre winds around 40 to 50 knots potentially across parts of the Republic of Ireland. Really, really, really quite intense low pressure system for this time of year especially. We'll have to see what happens with that. But once again, I must emphasise, GM and Ensemble picking up on it. Latest shift isn't, even though its past runs had, and not all operational runs have in the last couple of days, and not all Ensemble members have either. Into the longer range, beyond that, we do see eventually low pressure continue to move back in, and high pressure does try and form, but not as successfully as the GFS is showing. So Ecmwf definitely more inclined for more unsettled low pressure in from the west sort of pattern. Now, if you finish by looking at the ensembles, you can see for the next couple of weeks for the GFS, it is looking generally average to above average. So more inclined towards warmer weather, especially towards this weekend, and in the longer term, where there is a strong signal now for above average upper air temperatures and a reduction in precipitation as well, indicating there is a good chance we go drier. I must say, though, the GM, the Ecmwf at day 10 were still showing low pressure moving in. That's around the 16th, so if we could run those on another couple of days, it would be very interesting to see if they would go on that drying trend, but we'll have to see, as I said, in the next few days. But you can see that unsettled spell of around 4 or 5 days through early next week in towards the weekend, where it is getting a little bit cooler and real high precipitation amounts. Again, you look at the sea level pressure, definitely dropping there. Again, from the latest runs, it looks like further northwards we'll see the brunt of the low pressure system. Could be the strongest gusts in the south, but the centre of low looks likely to go in the north, so we're not seeing any huge bottoms out here, but around 1,010 millibars or lower. If we actually do look at Glasgow, you can see slightly lower there, some getting really quite deep, indicating, again, that low could move through. And again, if we do put on the 10-metre winds, you can see definitely a little bit higher next week. Nothing crazy, though. Sort of a few metres per second higher, but nothing too significant. Again, that will be issues with timings, all the runs not completely agreeing. And because of the localised nature of this low, at this time frame, the ensembles probably won't pick up on it all too well. That's why we still have a lot of uncertainty. And again, if we look at the 2-metre temperatures for this, again, definitely not looking all too warm in the next week to 10 days. Still be warmer days here over the next few days, but into next week probably turning a little bit cooler. And then, as I said, in the longer term, look at that, quite a strong signal for warmer, dry conditions, but it is still at that day 10 to day 15 range, which still has a lot of uncertainty. And we did finish just looking at the Ecmwf ensemble members. Again, you can see a quite distinct signal for slightly warmer conditions over the next few days, cooler and very unsettled next week, before trending much warmer and a little bit drier as well towards the middle of the month. So pretty much the same as the GFS ensembles. Sea level pressure, once again, a little bit of a dip next week. As I said, next Wednesday, that's when that low could move through, giving quite severe conditions. And again, if we look at the 10-metre wind gusts, you can see it definitely spiking up. Much bigger spike here from the Ecmwf ensemble members. So they're a lot more sure that we're going to see a strong low pressure signal again next week, So really quite strong winds, 10 meters per second gusts there. That is pretty strong, 10 meters per second sustained winds. As I said, gusts would be quite a bit higher. Again, these are around 10 meters per second is roughly 36 kilometers per hour, which is, really quite strong sustained winds, sort of in and around that 20 to 25 miles per hour sustained winds. And again, gusts can be 20, 30 miles per hour higher than that, so maybe 40, 50. And that is in London with low resolution, so it could be even higher than that. So could be seeing quite disruptive conditions next week. Again, a lot of uncertainty with it, but we'll keep you up to date with what is happening. And of course, if any Met Office warnings get issued, I don't think we'll see a resolution for at least another couple of days, perhaps until sort of Saturday, Sunday, Monday time, where we do see those high resolutions models get sort of into the time frame of this. But it definitely has cropped up in the last 24 to 48 hours, and we'll just have to see how it does develop. So anyway, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.